Well, we mentioned all those recent cyber attacks just a few minutes ago. The White House ramping up pressure on companies to protect themselves at this point. The National Security Council's Ann Neuberger joins us right now. And Ann, I have heard this compared to the other pandemic we are dealing with right now, cyber attacks. Just how bad have things gotten?
Certainly, we've seen an increase in ransomware over the last few years, driven by the rise in use of cryptocurrency, and certainly companies' movements to allow employees to telework, which opened up various gaps in their information technology. So we've seen a rise in ransomware, both in the number and the intensity of the attacks, and it's why the administration is so committed to working with international partners and the private sector to address it.
At this point, the government has said, the White House has said that businesses have a distinct and key responsibility to step up their systems. Do you think these attacks are happening because businesses are lax with these things, or is it because the United States hasn't done enough to push back against nations like Russia and China that are harboring some of these cyber attackers?
To really address the ecosystem of ransomware takes a partnership between the private sector and the government. You know, much as we say in our own lives, from a security perspective, we have locks on our doors, we have alarm systems, as well as a police force. We need the private sector to ensure that their cybersecurity defenses are adequate to meet the threat. And on the administration side, we're committed to working with our international partners and with the private sector on a four-part ransomware strategy, disrupting the ransomware ecosystem, building an international coalition to hold countries who harbor ransomware actors accountable, addressing cryptocurrency, which has enabled a significant rise in the use of ransomware, and then, of course, putting in place coherent and thoughtful ransom policies that really disrupt the ongoing ecosystem in the long term.
A lot of businesses do spend quite a bit of money on cyber protection, though. The recent attacks that we've seen, let's say Colonial Pipeline, JBS, are those because those companies didn't do enough?
The first step in any successful ransomware attack is finding vulnerabilities that can be compromised in order to enable encrypting the system. So a part of the letter we issued was to say there's a small number of high-impact cybersecurity steps that every company must take. And if those steps are taken, it's far less likely that a ransomware attack will be successful against that company.
I'm just asking, though, is this something that basically says the companies that are being attacked should be shamed because they didn't do those very basic things you're talking about?
It's certainly something that says that we can learn lessons from successful ransomware attacks to ensure that every company has the adequate defenses. And I think the first question every company should ask themselves, if they're compromised, and even better, well before, is, are each of the steps we outlined in that note in place? Is there multi-factor authentication in place? Because we see so many compromises happening through reuse of passwords, through spear phishing an individual user, and that is what's happened in a number of successful ransomware attacks. And that's really the reason that we did that call to action of CEOs. Rather than name and shame, we want to be proactive and call on CEOs and say, let's end this scourge of ransomware together. We as the administration are focused on the things we can do, but we cannot be successful without the partnership of the private sector. And this is specifically what we need the private sector to do.
Hey, Ann, can we talk a little bit about crypto and how you think about it? Because clearly Janet Yellen is thinking about this. Gary Gensler at the SEC is thinking about this. Proponents of Bitcoin and crypto say, look, actually, it's more traceable than cash. Critics say, absolutely not. Look at what's happening right now with ransomware. It wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for crypto. So what do you do?
Really thoughtful in the way you outline that. So there are specific aspects of crypto that have enabled the rise of ransomware. A, it's an international currency. B, it is, while the blockchain is public, it is difficult to trace, particularly anonymity-enhancing cryptocurrencies like Monero. And finally, around the world, there is far less regulation than there is in place for traditional currencies. In the United States, for example, there are rules around know your customer for crypto exchanges, and Treasury's FATF has really been working around the world to ensure those know your customer rules are in place for other cryptocurrency exchanges as well. So it's a bit of both, exactly as you outlined. There is a lot that cryptocurrency can engender regarding innovation. It's also a key reason for the rise of ransomware, and it's why one of the 4 lines of effort in the administration's ransomware strategy is working with international partners to ensure there is the right oversight in place to track cryptocurrency and ensure it isn't an easy tool for criminals to use for ransomware and for a host of other ways to evade oversight.
But is there a way for Bitcoin, for example, to be successful as something that's both completely trackable and traceable and isn't anonymous and yet is still Bitcoin? Because so many of the quote-unquote virtues that the proponents of Bitcoin talk about seem to also be the downsides.
As with so many areas of technology, we need innovation and we also need the security aspect. It doesn't serve any of our interests to have a currency that can enable not only ransomware, but trafficking in weapons and people and other criminal uses. So we believe that it is possible to have the innovation of cryptocurrency with the adequate oversight. And I gave a couple of examples so that we can ensure that it isn't used quickly and internationally by criminals.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.